Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Tiffany. I am the SVP of Partnerships here at HouseAmp. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go slow so we can have a few people join because I know we might have a few late joiners. So we're here today to talk about marketing for more listings with pre-sale financing. So we want to help you turn strategy into signed listing agreements today. I do have Jamie here. She's my associate, and she's going to be helping along here and making sure that we get all of your questions answered. So we do have a Q&A section over there on the left-hand side. Go ahead and throw your questions in there if you have any questions. And then we will get to a Q&A session later in the presentation, and we'll go ahead and answer any questions that you might have. All right, so let's talk a little bit about HouseAmp, just so you know who we are and why we're doing this, why we're here. So we are an Improve Now, Pay Later platform. And basically we bring together agents, homeowners, lenders, and service providers to help your sellers improve their property, whether they're selling or buying, but really improve their property today in the context of getting those listings. So this is an example of what the platform looks like. You can see the dashboard there. You invite your clients to the platform. They sign up for an account. You're able to see their progress going through the loan application. Over in the right-hand corner, we have our marketing hub. That's where you can get your custom listing flyers, your social media posts, and more. We'll go over that a little bit more in depth later in the presentation. We have your equity estimator. This is where you can look up any property and see how much equity may be available. So we'll talk about that again later in the presentation. And then you can use any service provider. This is one of the big differentiators for us, is that you don't have to work with our service providers. You don't have to choose from a list of providers. You can work with the providers that you want to work with. So your trusted construction people, your landscapers, your painters, pretty much anybody that you choose. And you can invite them to the platform, and then all of the payments go through the platform. So we don't send any money right to the homeowner. Everything goes through the platform. So some of the highlights, you can get loans up to $250,000 for your clients, depending on the loan program. It's a very fast approval process, and we are available nationwide. We're in 48 states. So have any questions, throw those up in the Q&A, and let's get started and talk a little bit about marketing. So leads come from various sources, right? You get your referrals, your personal connections, your social media. Everything starts with a plan, right? So aligning your listing strategy with seller goals, that is very important. What does your seller want from you? So when you go into that listing presentation, it's my understanding that they want you to help them sell their property fast and for more money, right? So making sure that your strategy going in to meet with that seller aligns with theirs. If there's someone who needs to make a move, you especially want to make sure that you get that property sold fast. Position yourself as their agent with solutions. So not only going in and talking to them about what they need to do to get the property ready for sale, but also how to do that, right? How are they going to be able to afford it? Do they have the money to come out of pocket for that? Or is that something where they would need financing or would want to access financing to be able to have no upfront costs and to pay at close? And then build a repeatable marketing plan. So you want to make sure that every single time you go into a listing presentation, that you're presenting options for your sellers to be able to maximize their sale price and sell their property quickly, especially in today's market. We know that buyers have a lot more choices than they have had in the last few years. So let's talk about your sphere of influence. So your sphere of influence, people who know, like, and trust you, you need to show them why you should be their go-to agent, right? So they like you, they want to see what you're doing to help people sell their properties for more money. So, right, you want to re-engage your past clients. You want to go back through your sphere of influence, educate them on the opportunity for pre-sale financing. So you may have people in your database today who want to renovate or upgrade their property, who want to be able to do that, but they may be holding off because they don't have access to the funds. And I'm going to welcome Julian here. Julian is going to be giving us a little bit of a testimonial here in a little bit. He's an incredible agent out of California. Hi, Julian. Thanks for joining us. We'll have a slide for you soon, and we'll introduce you.
Okay.
So we're just talking about sphere of influence now. So basically, you want to educate your sphere on pre-sale financing as a solution for them, right? So be able to go in and share success stories. This is how I helped my client update their property, get it ready to be listed, be market ready. And then this is how much more money they were able to make from that. So those testimonials and those storytelling opportunities with your sphere of influence are really important. You could even send a text out to your sphere and say, what's holding you back from selling your property right now, right? If they come back with, well, I know that I'm going to need to do paint, flooring, landscaping, and we just don't have the cash for that right now. That's your opportunity to say, well, what if I had a solution for you? What if I had something where you could go in, get pre-approved for up to $250,000 to make any of these repairs and pay at close? That starts the conversation so that you can lead them to that solution and you can be that resource for them. So let's talk about geographic farming. Some of you may be doing farming in target neighborhoods. You may have your farm areas already chosen. If not, you definitely want to look at homes that have aging homes, right? So your title company is a great help for this too, depending on where you're at. A lot of times your title company can pull up farming information and they can tell you the age of the homes, the average age. They can tell you if someone has owned a property for, let's say, 20 years or more. Different statistics like that can help you really hone in on a geographic farm and really determine if that's a neighborhood where you could go in and offer improve now, pay later in your mailers, right? So use this stats, and then this is where you use your case studies again, right? You can say, this is how I helped a seller upgrade the property and sell for more. So there are some tips here for you using bold headers like we have buyers, your home could sell fast, adding your testimonials or your case studies are really impactful. Those before and after photos. Make sure that you're always getting before and afters and you're getting the numbers together for how that renovation profited your client. And then keep it hyper local, reference the neighborhood in the marketing pieces. You want them to know that you know that neighborhood, you know how to help them get more for that property and sell faster. All right. So let's talk about open houses. So when you have an open house, this is your chance to show what you were able to do for your sellers, right? So you want to showcase the homes as improved with financing, right? Use signage that says move in ready. Educate your open house attendees that when they walk in there, this house has already been upgraded. It's move in ready. It's ready to go because the sellers were able to access financing and pay at close. They may have a property that they need to sell in order to get into a new house, right? But they're always going to shop for the new house before they decide what to do with the current one. So it's an opportunity for you to really prove the power behind this. So when they walk into the open house and they're wowed by, the staging and the upgrades and the new kitchen or whatever it is in there, then you can point that out and say, I have solutions to help you do the same thing. So if you have a house that you haven't sold yet, you're just out looking to see what's on the market, I can help you sell that house fast and get into a market ready house like this one. All right. Another opportunity for you is expired listings and for sale by owners, right? We all know that you can search through and you can look at expired listings. You can see when you look at the photos what may have been missed, right? What they may not have done prior to listing the property and why the property didn't sell for what they wanted it. So you can help them by reaching out and saying, hey, I have a solution for you. If you had access to funds, would you be willing to do these things? So you become a value added partner for them, right? So instead of just calling and saying, hey, I saw that you weren't able to get the property sold. I'm a better agent than your agent was. I can sell this for you. You actually present a strategy on how they can do those renovations without coming out of pocket. Give them confidence that you can get it sold quickly and that they should list with you. Same thing with for sale by owner. You can go in there and offer some advice to them. Here's what I think you should do with the property, become their trusted advisor, and then hopefully they'll list with you. All right. So A lot of you may know this, but we're going to do a real quick poll. What percentage of buyers start their home search online? So go ahead, you can vote, I think, under the poll. Did we launch the poll there, Jamie?
Yep, it should be live on the screen. So go ahead and cast your vote.
All right. We'll give you a couple more seconds and then we'll go ahead and hit the results.
They've all got it. Everybody knows this, apparently.
All right. So yeah, you guys are great, 97%. So 97% of buyers start their home search online, right? So as we all know, it's crucial that you have an online presence, right? So create your Google posts, add your new listings, your open house, your market updates, make sure you reply to every review. You want people to know that you are paying attention to their reviews. Include a location, product, keyword, something in that response. You want to be feeding the Google, search criteria there. Seed a Q&A question. So ask a client or a friend to post a question about your market expertise and then answer it publicly. So you can show that you know that region, that area, and that you're the expert there. And then make sure that you're repeating this every week. Keep your activity fresh. Google's always going to reward current engagement over static profiles, especially with all the AI being trained right now. You want to make sure that you are posting very regularly. Okay, and then marketing for more listings with social media. So as we all know, social media is not just one of many options. It's now a really necessary marketing element for every agent. And it's the top source for high quality leads. So what you want to be doing on your social media, again, is you want to be showing your value. Here's how I'm helping my clients. Here's what I'm doing to help them sell faster and for more. And this is how I'm doing it, right? So not only giving them the confidence that you know how to sell that property, but that you can bring tools to them to make that easier for them, to make it more affordable, and to help them, access their equity or pay at close, depending on what programs they want to choose. So as you can see, tech tools that provide the highest number of quality leads, social media, number one. All right, so here's how we can help. We have our marketing hub, and I mentioned this in the first slide. When you log into the platform, you can create your account. There's no cost to you as an agent to use this program at all. And you can log in there and you can get access to the marketing hub. It's in the upper right-hand corner. It's a little bullhorn icon. We'll look at that again later. But there's a lot of really great assets in here. So you can let your sellers know that you have a solution and you don't have to create this, right? It's already there for you. You can go in, you can download these templates as is, or you can hit customize. It'll pop that open in Canva and you can customize with any kind of color schemes. You can add your logos, your contact information, whatever you want to do on those templates. Those are all available for you right now. So I very much encourage you to go in and check those out. They're twofold. The flyers are great because you can take those to a listing presentation. There's a side-by-side flyer that talks about the two different loan programs that we offer. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know all the information about the different loan products available. You can use those to educate your client. There's also a flyer in there for service providers. So if you have a service provider that you want to work with, you can invite them to the platform, and there's actually marketing materials in there so you can share how the platform works for them as a service provider. It's a great value add for them. They can join the platform and be searchable at no cost to them. We don't charge for leads. So it's a really great opportunity for you to provide some value to your service providers as well. And you don't have to know everything about the program. You can just go ahead and send them that information. So definitely access this marketing hub, take a look and see how you can implement this into your business, because you don't want to have to recreate the wheel or put together these marketing items, and they're already created for you. So when you deliver more to your seller with less stress, they're going to tell other people, right? So this is the biggest thing for me is you all want to work by referral. And the easiest way to work by referral is to help sellers sell their property for more money and faster, right? They're going to want to tell everybody. So real estate referrals are the most important piece of your business because they naturally compound and generate leads and more profit for you without as much effort to get new clients in the door. So your sellers are hiring you to sell faster and for more. You want to impress your sellers and generate more referrals. Position yourself as an innovator in your market. The other thing I want to mention too, and you've probably all heard this maybe from your broker, but you have to be asking for referrals as well. So when you do a great job for someone and you sell their property and they're thrilled, the first question is, who do you know that I could help with the same program, right? Who do you know that might be holding off on selling their property because they don't have the cash to do the upgrades or they don't want to pull money out of their retirement account? I would love to reach out to them and talk to them about this option, and this is a great way for you to lead in with value, right? You're not asking for business, you're asking to help their friends and family by selling their property for more. I mean, it's their largest investment. They need to maximize that. We kind of compare it to flipping their own house, right? They want to be able to help their friends and family maximize that profit every time they sell a property. All right. And then asking for Google reviews. That's another ask that you should be requesting from your client. So as we said, recency is key. Google prioritizes activity for the last 12 months. So keywords boost your search authority. So when you reply, loved helping you purchase your first home in Alamo Creek, that's actually going to help you get more Google juice, right? So we always want to be increasing that. We always want to make sure that we're reinforcing your expertise in that neighborhood, that you're coming up in searches for that neighborhood. So making sure that you use keywords every opportunity you get, right? Your listing presentations, anytime you put in an MLS listing, you should have keywords in there. Consistency, aim for 75 reviews and 75 replies per year to show steady engagement. That means making sure that every single time you work with a client, you ask for a review. All right, let's talk to Julian. Julian, are you still with us? So we asked Julian to be here. He is the founder of Accelerate Real Estate in California. And Julian recently had a client work with us here at House Amp. So Julian, just tell us a little bit about that. How did it go for you?
It went really well. Our client was elderly. He had a really hard time being able to afford what my partner Michael and I were suggesting as far as painting, upgrading the bathroom, fixing dry rot, painting the interior as well, fixing the backyard. So he didn't have the funds for that. And we reached out to Tiffany, she was amazing, and helped coordinate everything. It was made it super easy, really smooth. We worked with other companies or tried to work with other companies in the past, but the difference with House Amp versus pick other names now, but they want us to use their vendors where we were able to use our own vendors. So I was able to use the guys I liked, I trusted, the guys I get discounts on for my paint guy or whatever. Yeah, we were able to get everything, use all our own people, still pay them on time. And then the client was super stoked. He didn't have to dig into a savings account or retirement. And then we're also able to sell his house for, frankly, top dollar, because the condition it was in, it would have probably sold for 100 grand less. And I think the way of pitching it is, I always tell everybody, obviously you watch HGTV and everybody wants the done up house. Nowadays, nobody wants the fixer uppers. And if I'm going to be showing the property, we're going to have to price your house like a fixer upper. Even though it's just outdated, it's still a fixer upper. Even it was 2000s with the gold and stuff like that, or 90s, is like, we have to update everything. And people, as in buyers, create these fake bids in their head. Well, I need to do this paint job, and it cost me 20 grand. I need to do this kitchen, it's going to be 100 grand. Like, they come up with these random numbers, but we brought in our designer. She picked the colors for us. The bathroom, we even changed the carpet out as well. So again, we couldn't have done it without House Amp getting us the pricing we wanted, and we sold the first week. So yeah.
Awesome. I love to hear that. That's great. Well, it's a perfect example of, like you said, no one wants to walk in and take on a project, right? Like, they want to walk in, the people are busy. They don't have most of them don't have the skills to do it themselves or the time to do it themselves. And so when you're starting now to compete, right, we have a lot more listings, a lot fewer buyers. We really have to be day one ready for these people to move in, right, and start their life. They're usually at the top of their price range too. They don't have the money to put in there. So I love too that you said that you brought in outside experts. You brought in a designer. You brought in people who are experts at doing that, so that you're not, as the agent, trying to figure out what color paint they should use or what's going to get them the best return on investment, because those experts are able to do that. And you can choose anyone you want to, right, with this platform. And you can work with people that are going to get the work done quickly. That you have transparency in the pricing, right? So you're not just having somebody come in and say, yeah, it's going to be $100,000, and you don't know what they're paying for, right? So really highlighting that. And how do you think that's, I know that you guys have been doing this for a long time with your team, but how do you think that differentiates you in your marketplace? Do you think a lot of other agents are doing that for their sellers?
I don't. I think I call it the way we get. I use this phrase a lot in our listing appointments. I say what a lot of agents are doing nowadays, they take pictures and hope and pray it sells. Where we don't like to do that. We don't hope and pray. We try to create the market by taking twilight photography, by prepping the house for the market. It's like if you want an agent who's going to come here to take photos with their camera or their iPhone, then hire them. We don't do that. We're here to sell your home for top dollar, and this is how we do it. When my partner Michael and I go in, we also say, hey, just so you're aware, because they wanted a higher number, and it's like, well, just so you're aware, at our price range, we have 78 additional homes priced exactly the same way in our county. So the same buyers you look at Windsor, Santa Rosa, Petaluma, they're all going to be judging it, and your house is going to get ticked off the list really fast if it's not as nice, or if it's smaller, or it's not as done up. So me and Mike take great pride, especially in our marketing. It always says, hey, you don't just work with Mike and I, you work with our team of experts, designers, painters, and then we do have that, but people usually pay for it up front, and then working with you guys made it easier for them not to do it at no cost. So now I can advertise it as in, hey, you can work with our team of people at no cost. So I get to at least throw that in my marketing, and then get the appointments and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really great. I think it's a lot easier to get your sellers to do the things that they need to do when they don't have to come out of pocket for it, right?
Mhm.
So they're a lot more likely to say, yeah, I'll do staging, or yeah, I'll do those things if they know it's not going to impact them right now. And people always ask me, like, what's the cost of this program? And it is pretty affordable. It's short-term financing, they don't pay a lot of interest, but what's the cost of not doing it? Right? What's the cost of putting it on the market as is and taking that $100,000 price, a reduction?
It was ugly. I'll be honest, it was ugly. The house, the carpets, I think they owned it for 35 years and didn't touch anything, and it looked like it. You walked in, like, like it doesn't feel homey. It doesn't feel nice and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you want to be able to present something that reflects, quality, right? When buyers are coming in, and you don't want to be apologizing that, it's a 30-year-old dated property. And just a statistic that we like to throw out, the average buyer now thinks that a home is dated after 7 years, right?
Yeah.
So everything's trending faster, everything's changing faster. So you might walk in and say, oh, that's only, 8-year-old house. It still probably needs some updating, and it probably definitely needs some refresh, right? So this is something that pretty much everybody at least needs to be considering, right, when they're going into these listing presentations. So I really thank you so much, Julian. We do have a couple Q&A questions too that we might be able to loft over at you. Jamie, what do we have so far?
Yeah, I think, Julian, you hinted on this, if not answered it, but I'll go ahead and ask it just in case you have anything to add. But how has helping sellers improve their homes prior to listing help your business in general?
Well, that's the reason why we got the listing, is because we were able to help with helping them prep it, not having to pay anything, having our list of contractors, because we're realtors, we all know somebody. And if you don't, then we have a community page here in Sonoma County where I just go, hey, who do you have a recommended painter? And don't be afraid to ask other people. Just you don't have to. I have a guy. I always say I have a guy. I have a guy for everything. And if I don't, I look it up and I ask other people. But part of the reason why we got the listing was due to the fact we can help them pay for everything, because they wanted to hire for what I thought it was worth, and probably would have sold for 100 grand less because 35-year-old home, they didn't do anything. The wife said, wow, I don't want to move out of this house anymore. It's perfect. I wish we did this 30 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I mean, it drives me crazy a little bit with agents I think as agents, we're the professionals and we can't be scared to tell our clients, hey, this is going on. Here's the market. You have 78 homes we're competing against in your price range. We have to at least paint it. Oh, and then XYZ. You don't have to do it all, but it's going to help us sell it. Well, my house is only 15 years old. I updated it 10 years ago. It's fine. Like, well, it's not fine anymore due to HGTV and people watching Netflix and $1 Million Listing or whatever. So unfortunately we have to update it and make it the sellability of the property, and we can do that by updating. If you don't have the money, guess what? We have a partner we work with, HouseAmp, and you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah. I love that too when you talk about being the expert, right? They're hiring you for your expertise. And we've gone through, how do we show value? How do we show value? You show value by walking in there and telling them, here's what you need to do to maximize the sale, right? I understand you love that red wall, but the buyer's not going to love it. So let's take care of it, and being the expert and having the confidence to go in there and tell them, this is what you need to do. I think most people, that's why they hired you, right? Because you told them, here's what you need to do and here's how you can do it, right? And you're going
to get kickback. Yeah, you're going to get kickback. We actually, Mike and I sold a property. We sold it for $200,000 over asking. Then it was expired. Then the other agent sold it for, and they had a red wall, like a big red fireplace, and they didn't want to paint it. And I was like, I understand you love this fireplace, you love the red, but it's the first thing that catches my eye, and I don't like the way it looks. And I don't want to tell you that because I don't want to hurt, but I'm telling you it because I'm looking at it in the eyes of a prospective buyer. You have to paint your red wall. So we ended up painting it. We left a little red, but to make them happy. But yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I think that's the thing though. You're the expert, right? That's why they pay you. That's why they hire you. That's where your value is, right? And as we talk about commissions and different things like that, it's really important that you show your value. And this is how you do it. So awesome. Thank you. Jamie, what else do we have?
Definitely. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A section. I think we've covered essentially the questions we had ahead of time for Julian. Tiffany, a couple of things about HouseAmp. How long do they have to use the money if they get approved for a loan? And what happens if the home doesn't sell right away? Some of the nitty-gritty questions.
It's great questions. Yeah. So there's a 6-month draw period. So once they get approved and the funds become available, they have 6 months to use the funds. And we do let the homeowner know. We have kind of like, this is how many days you have left to draw on the funds. So we make sure that every time they log into the platform, they're able to see how much time they have left. We don't want that running out. We have had that happen. I think actually we haven't had it happen, but we've had somebody come to us because it happened to them with another lender. So we always want to make sure that they're informed, but they do have 6 months to draw the money. They're only going to pay interest on what they use each month as well. So even if they get approved for $100,000 and month one, they only use 10, they're only going to pay interest on the 10. Right. So there's no rush for them to get that money, out of that account. And everything stays within the platform. So we don't send the money directly to the homeowner. We want to make sure that the money gets used for the purpose it's intended to be. And so all of the invoices come through the platform from the service provider. The homeowner approves the invoice and then we pay the service pro directly. So we want to make sure that they get paid. They don't have to wait till close of escrow. They get paid as soon as the invoice is approved. And then what happens if the house doesn't sell, right? What happens if, the wife really does love the property and doesn't want to sell it at that point? That doesn't really happen very often, just to let you guys know. But let's say something happens and they have a health issue or they have to take the property off the market. We have 2 different loan programs. One of them is a 24-month term. So basically for the first 12 months, there's no payments. For the second 12 months, there's interest only payments. And then after 24 months, it has to either be repaid or refinanced, right? So we want to make sure we don't put anyone into a bad situation. There are competitors of ours out there where if they take their house off the market or they cancel their listing with that agent, that money becomes due immediately. right? You don't want to do that to your client. It could be, something completely out of their control. Our other program we have is an unsecured product, and it's a 15-year term. So if they qualify for that and they choose that program, that one, it's 15 years to pay it back. They can pay it back at close if they want to, but they don't have to. So we give them even more flexibility with that program, and that they can actually use for Improve to Stay as well. So if you have a buyer that moves in and decides they want to do some upgrades, they can actually use that and have a 15-year term to pay it off. So a lot of flexibility. Like I said, we don't want to put anyone into a bad situation. And on the 2-year program, once it gets close to being up and they need to refinance it, we actually will reach out and help them refinance that loan as well, right? So we want to make sure that we're taking care of your clients and helping them with what they need.
Great. And then what are some of the types of improvements? Obviously, we mentioned a red wall getting painted, some carpet issues, but what are some of the other things that can be done and improved on the house with these loans?
Yeah, I mean, basically anything that's going to help get the property sold, right? So we have a couple of different companies that are already on our platform. So if you don't have someone you're working with, you can actually search on the platform as well. We have an elder care transition company. We have an estate clean out company. We have a moving company. They're all happy to take payment through the platform, so you can use them for that. Or if you have someone that they prefer working with, as long as they'll invoice through the platform, they can use this money for almost anything related to the sale of the property, moving someone out of the property. They can use it for moving expenses, storage, different things like that as well. And then your typical stuff like landscaping, staging, painting. Some people also ask, like, can they do a deposit? Absolutely. So if your painter wants to get 50% upfront, they can invoice for that 50%. Seller approves the invoice, we pay it, they do the rest of their work, and then they invoice for the remainder. So a lot of flexibility too. And then they know that, they're not going to pay for the work until it's completed. And so that's worked really well for our service providers and for the homeowners, giving them that extra comfort that, they're not going to have to just pay it all up front and then hope that the work gets done. So a lot of fail safes in there for them as well.
All right. No more questions? Feel free to ask if you still have any.
All right. So what's next? So first of all, you guys want to put together your marketing strategy and make sure that every single listing you're going in, you're looking up a property in the equity estimator. So when you create your house amp account, there's a QR code there you can use. You can also go to houseamp.com and sign up. But basically, you'll be able to access your marketing materials and your equity estimator. The equity estimator, you're going to get an AVM value. You're going to get how much equity is available, and then an estimate of how much your client would be able to access as far as funding. That is based solely on the property. So there is a component where they would go in and apply, and then there are some credit requirements there. So reach out to your clients with solutions to move their listing faster and for more money. And then make sure that you are talking about your results, right? So when you have a client like Julian's that's able to go in and maximize and sell fast and do all that great stuff, you want to be promoting that. And that's going to be how you're going to get more referrals, right? So when we talk about marketing for more listings, it's a really great effect to be able to get that information and say, here's what I did, and do that storytelling, especially on your social media. Okay. So create your account. Again, here's the QR code again. Our customer support team is also available if you have any questions about this product. As I said, you don't need to know everything about this. You don't have to go in and talk rates and terms and all that different stuff with your client. Julian, I'm sure that you didn't go in and talk to your client about, rates and terms and all that stuff. You just need to give them the basic idea. This is what it is. This is how we can help. And then reach out to us, right? So our customer support team, there's their number, their email. Feel free to reach out and say, hey, I've got a client who's interested. Can you call them and talk to them? And we will. We're happy to do that. My information there. Feel free to.
In there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Usually you hear that from most companies, and I'm not just saying it to say it, but you'll hear, oh yeah, we're here for you, answer questions, and then you have the what your number and you're in a loop. You talk to somebody in India or whatever. But my experience is that I've been talking directly with you guys, and it's been really nice to talk to you. And any questions I had, you called my clients right away. So thank you for making it so easy to use your product, because it really was super easy, and I really had to do nothing. So I really do appreciate that.
We love that. Thank you, Julian. I
Yeah.
appreciate you saying that too. Yeah, we're
course.
really, the reason that this company was created was to help homeowners, right? We really want to help homeowners maximize their biggest investment, right? And so we want to be supportive. We want to be here to answer questions. And, you know, between the support team and the marketing hub, there's a lot of information in there for you. So don't ever feel like, you know, I don't really want to talk about it because I'm not sure. You know, just let us help. Let us be there to support you. So the first thing to do is go ahead and create your account, get access to the equity estimator. You can put in any address, right? So you don't even have to have the seller's name. Just put in any address. You can look up the value. It's a great tool. It's a great prospecting tool. And then access those marketing materials as well. And then just feel free to reach out to us. Let us know how we can help support you. And if you have any referrals for Julian, what markets are you working in?
I'm in Sonoma County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have anybody in Sonoma County that needs a really amazing real estate team that's going to help them maximize their sale, reach out to Julian. He's the coolest. So we appreciate you so much. And if anyone has questions, reach out to us directly and we're here to help you.